Yes, yes, yes. This is the HL podcast for our HL Tuesdays. We are the dopest podcast in the DMV, presented to you all by the Harris Firm and Willpower Innovations.
Yes,
I am
sir.
Rock alongside your boy Chief.
Man, excited. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Now, tonight, this is our HL interviews where we sit down and converse with up and coming and established Black entrepreneurs, activists, educators, artists, politicians to learn more about them, their businesses, and potential plans to help with the Black community. All right. Now, people, please remember that all of our previous interview episodes are now available on all major podcast platforms as well as our YouTube channel. Go to the HL podcast. You searching on YouTube, type in the HL podcast. Our page will pop right up. Please make sure you subscribe to that. Right now, we are broadcasting live on the Roku platform and Apple TV on the Politicking app. Very special shout out to the StreamYard platform right now for letting us being able to broadcast live. And we are live right now on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Shout out everybody who's following us and viewing this right now on those platforms. All right. And thank you all for following us on Facebook, TikTok, and IG at the HL Podcast. And lastly, but certainly not least, the seventh issue of the HL magazine is still available right now on IG at the HL Mag. Okay. And it will be available very soon on the Black Lotus website. All right. Black Lotus, that's black without the C. So yeah, please definitely check that out. The responses have been going crazy, so we definitely appreciate everybody for viewing the magazine.
Facts. A lot of eyes been seeing it. One of our most, I should say, passed around magazines. Like it's been around. People have reposting it, talking about it. It's definitely a blessing, and we can feel that it was gonna have some power behind it. But to see the eyes and the powerful eyes that saw it and reposting it is big. So guys, please go and check that out. Tonight, let's talk tonight. We have a special guest who is here not only to speak on his background, but to discuss what needs to be a major focus in society. It's a huge thing for both Amrock and I. It's mental health. People, tonight got our guy, Izzy Baker. What's good, G?
Yo, what's going on?
What's going
How you
on,
living, man? How you living?
Man, chilling. Just got off work not too long ago. Chilling.
Hey, I hear that.
Yeah, I know, right? We got you popping right into an interview once again, man. I love that backdrop you got right now. Hustle percent, 100%, focus 100%, persistence 100%, discipline, all of that. That's key nutrition facts for a man and a woman, huh?
Yes, sir. Gotta be.
I hear that. So we're gonna start off this interview. We like to get deep, just get straight into it. But I'm gonna read something you posted. You said, you're doing something right when people in other countries are inspired by what you're doing. That's big time. So let's talk purpose. What do you believe your living purpose is?
It's funny. So I remember one thing on me, I always got a story. I remember I graduated, and I actually got to do it this year. So I graduated from college, and I remember reading this book. Well, I didn't graduate yet. I started reading this book. I started growing my faith in God and stuff. And I was reading this book by this lady named Dr. Cindy Trim. And the name of the book is The Soul Fast. And the tagline is, as a writer myself, I like taglines. So the tagline is, it's not what you're eating, it's what's eating you. And so it's literally a 40-day fast. And during that day, it's not necessarily you not eating, but you really taking time out in this book to dissect you, go through who you are, learn who you are. And I remember in the part of the book, it's the beginning of the book, actually, it says, what's something that you can do where you could do it for free? And at the time, I said making people laugh and writing, because I'm a writer. And then years later, end up being adding mental health to that. So at one point I said, I'm going to do this every year. I didn't do it last year, but I think I'm for sure going to do it this year. And not just talking about it, y'all just brought back up why I need to do it. So appreciate y'all for that indirectly.
Right.
In my memory.
Right. That's big time. Purpose is huge to And Markinized. So we talk about that literally on the hour, every hour, because it's who
Right.
you are. So I'll check out that book. What was the name? Who's the
It's
author again?
Dr. Cindy Trim, The Soul Fast.
Sydney Trim.
Cindy, like Cindy Lou Who.
Okay,
Got
okay, bet. All right. That's great. That's great. Y'all check that out. Check that out, definitely. So take us back to the beginning. So you're originally from St. Louis, correct?
Yep.
All right. So how was it growing up there with you and your family? Just take us, through a quick journey in St. Louis. Young Izzy Baker.
Okay, so first of all, St. Louis is ghetto. Everybody know that. Everybody knows St. Louis is ghetto. But St. Louis is definitely a city. It's definitely, growing up how I grew up in the time when Nelly was hot, Chingy was hot. When I grew up, it was around that time. It was that era. So that's when he was on, when he was coming out, Country Grammar.
Yeah.
I'm going down, baby. Then
Yeah.
Chingy and they both winning awards.
Yeah.
And the Saint Lunatics and Hollywood. So that it was a good time. And it was definitely looking back on it, it was just like, wow, what a time, and I still feel like, and granted, probably we're gonna be biased because we grew up in that era, but the 2000s era was crazy. Because I remember when we went to the Millennium concert in 2019, the B2K, Pretty Ricky, and all that, and they took us back through that. I'm like, wow, that was really a time.
Right.
But growing up in St. Louis was definitely, here's the thing with St. Louis, because as we all know, as people of color, Black folks, there's a difference between Black folks and NIGGAS. So St. Louis is full of the latter. And especially where I grew up in the area I grew up in, it wasn't a hood, but it was like if you're from St. Louis, you know about Normandy, you already know. So yeah, that's just kind of how it was. Like I said, I wasn't out here killing, robbing, stealing, but my friends was, because my people ain't play that. But my friends was doing all that. So
Right. So in the midst of all of that, once again, if your friend's doing it, it's kind of hard for you not to fall in that trap. I've actually fell in that plenty of times. So, but what was your first passion as a kid that kind of separated you from all of that?
Honestly, I used to be a mute, but I always liked making people laugh. And even as a kid, I would always write stories. Like I would get a rush from that. Like I remember I just be in my room just writing stories, and just coming up with these little creative stories and just basing it off some of my favorite things. My mind is all over the place, but in a good way. And I tell people all the time, if people come to my house and they look at my DVR, they're gonna think a whole family live here, because I'm interested in so many different things. So all of that, plus the trials and tribulations of my life, is just kind of turning so much creativity, and it's what a time to be alive.
I hear that. So you went to Texas Southern, correct?
Yep.
What did you actually major in going there?
So I majored in English.
That's cool.
The goal was to be a lawyer. And honestly, I was going to be a lawyer because I was told, you like to argue, you're a critical thinker. Even before I knew I was a critical thinker, my dad was like, you're a critical thinker and you like to argue, and this would be perfect for you. So I just was kind of like, let's do it. And I wanted to be a lawyer / sports agent because I had the sports background, and I ended up minoring in sports management. And when I went to Texas Southern to visit, I went to Thurgood Marshall, the law school. And one of the lawyers said, I think you need to major in English because that'll help you when you get to law school and you got to do all these papers and all these things. And English will force you to really, And so I majored in English, but came my last semester, the second to last semester, I graduated in 4.5 years. So that I graduated fall 16. I remember fall 15, I was working in the law school work study. A first year work study as a senior. That'll never happen in the law school. Right. And I knew it was a divine setup because I remember working in there and I said, I don't want to do this. and it didn't hit till literally a year before I graduated. I said, I don't want to be no lawyer. But the beauty of majoring in English was before I even knew about a podcast and all this other stuff that I'm doing, the beauty of majoring in English was, worst case, you can always go teach.
Facts.
What I'm doing as my day job now. But yeah, so that's just kind of a little bit of my background. I remember calling my dad, said literally that last, I said, I don't this for me.
Yeah, nah, yeah. Great on that.
I hear that. So after graduating, actually, did you stay in Texas, or like did you go home? Did you go back to St. Louis right after?
Well, I was kind of trained in the mindset of once you leave St. Louis, you ain't coming back. And I didn't want to go back. So it was easy for me to stay because I knew when I graduated, when I left for college, I told my friends and they thought I was tripping. I said, when I leave, it's not going to be the same. And because I felt I was kind of the glue that held everybody together. And even with my friends, now I'm always person like, hey, where you at? Pull up, hey, where you at? So I like bring everybody. So when I'm not there, it's like people be kind of like clicked up. And so after that, I was gone. I came back for Christmas and summer break. And I came back for Christmas break, them 2 weeks, and I came back for summer break 1 year, the whole summer. And I never again.
Dang.
And anytime I came back for summer, it's only for like a week.
Right.
Even now, it's only for like a week. And I can't do it. And everybody be like, you ready to go already? I'm like, yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds like Richmond to us. Love it. Family still there, but it's like, once you leave, you gotta just go. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah,
You gotta kind of distance yourself. It's nothing against it, but sometimes it's kind of hard to grow back at home. Especially when there's a lot of negativity going on. But with all of this stuff being said, you gave us a background on your college career, your passion as a kid, and all that. How is your mental state right now? With everything going on recently, we had pandemic, we had all this stuff going on. How are you stable? Are you up and down? How are you feeling?
So, because you said the pandemic and all this stuff going on, honestly, when that stuff was happening, mentally, I was cool. I had some personal stuff that happened at the beginning of this year that was going on, but I'd have been recovering from that. I actually, I went to a therapist in 2016, and then I go back to a therapist now, a different one, and that's why anytime I get on something, I always talk about free resources. So when I was in college, a lot of colleges offered it then. But I'm sure even more offered now, free therapy through a counseling through all the fees that you pay. And then as a teacher, I get that free service again. And I felt like, why not take advantage of it? And this was before all the mass stuff started happening. So I feel like in a sense, it might have been low-key a little setup. But yeah. So I definitely think that it's needed. But like I said, so as of this moment, I'm cool. I'm good. But yeah.
I hear that now. Now we're about to dig deep. So do you, I know myself at times, I'm up and down with it. Do you personally deal with mental health issues, matters, however you want to call it? Or do you know any family members, like do people around you have the same issue? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So I was diagnosed in 2016 with general anxiety and severe depression. And I always mix up the two as either I would say general one or the other, but yeah, those. And they started as early as 9 years old, and I got diagnosed at 22. So I had been dealing with it my whole life, but I didn't really know the name for it. It was just always a little off. Like I would just be like, I would say nervous when I'm anxious. I would just go, oh, I'm nervous, and I would feel like worried about what people would say or do, and I was very hesitant to do a lot of stuff. And I know for a fact what opened the door for it was my parents' divorce. And although honestly I did get over it, I feel like kind of quickly I feel like opened the door for that, and then it just kind of and I definitely have family members that suffer from mental health issues, immediate family at that. So
yeah, that's good to be vulnerable and actually say that. Because I mean, this is a time to be vulnerable. At least you have reasons to. You have the pandemic and everything, so it's good to tell the world that.
I just want to add to that real quick. Yeah, even though I haven't been directly diagnosed, I would definitely say that I suffer from general anxiety, because everything you just described, exactly what I go through as well at times. Not necessarily like what people might say, but you never know, right? So it's what they either might say or might do, or how they might respond. So all of that, yeah, I definitely feel you on that. So yeah, I might need to go get myself looked at too. So this is great, just opening that.
Yeah, for real, it is great. So could you dig deeper on like general anxieties, because we know you have an actual personal journey. Like you say, you thought about it back when you were 9 and you got diagnosed when you was 22. Like other than like what are the kind of feelings that you actually get with this anxiety?
Well, with that, for me, and I don't think everybody does, but I know at one point for many years, actually had suicidal ideations, and contemplated that. And more so, people think with suicide, they think it's just, oh, I'm gonna go jump off this cliff. No, sometimes it's just the fact that you just feel like maybe it'd be better if I wasn't here.
Right.
You know, maybe it'd be better if I wasn't around. I know with depression, it would come in waves and it would seem like I'd be cool. And I was always the clown. But if you pay attention to like the people that have killed themselves, it's always the people, not always, but a lot of times it's the ones like the Robin Williams and the people who are happy, making sure everybody else is happy and grinning and smiling. And then they enjoying it in the moment, but they really, you know, so I know with depression, I would just feel as though it just seemed like nothing could ever go right.
Yeah.
Or feel like I'd be cool for a minute and then it'd just be like something else. I always be like, you know, and it's at this point in my life, well, besides a little incident I had, it seemed like after I got over it, it just seemed like I was always in a good mood to the point where it was scary. Like it seemed like every day it was just like in a good mood. And actually, even now with how I handle stuff, I got my wallet stolen last week, had my license and everything. And like I was kind of like felt away for like some minutes, and then after that, I'm just like, okay, let's just do it. You know, just replace everything. You know, so I didn't let that ruin my whole week. I didn't let that ruin my whole day. I just was like, whatever, you know.
Yeah. No, I feel you. That was my thing. Mine was obviously, of course, depression, and it digs you so low. I think I never want to get back there ever again. So I try my hardest, like you said, to be overly positive at times, actually over analyzing situations as well to see what's the positive outcome in this thing. You know? Because I know how low I've been, and I never want anybody else or myself to get back there. So I understand that. I understand that. So from hearing about these experiences, which is definitely great, we appreciate you for being vulnerable and opening with us. What made you say you wanted to start discussing mental health? Because sometimes there's a stigma on our people hearing those words together, you know. So do a podcast at that too. We'll brought you to this part in life.
So here's the thing, and I'm sure you're probably getting this as kind of a pattern with me. A lot of things that happen I didn't do on purpose. So a lot of stuff I do feel like was a setup. When I started PSA originally started off as a blog, the same name, Prodigy Sportive Attestations. Prodigy is the name of me and my father's brand. Sportive is a double meaning. I'm a definitions kind of person, so I like definitions. Sportive meaning light or playful, and then attestations means something delivered as true or news. So if you put it together, you might say like Prodigy's funny news or light truth or something like that. Because I'm telling the truth, I'm just delivered in a way where it's not as, you know.
I get it.
So, are you familiar with the show? Are y'all familiar with the show Best Week Ever? They used to come on VH1.
I didn't watch that.
So basically,
heard of it. I think I heard of it, but I don't remember watching it.
Okay, so Best Week Ever was basically like when Charlemagne, other comedians, singers, people would come on each week, and they would clown stuff that happened that week, and they would on VH1 to be like 30 minutes every week. It just would be on like every Friday, whether it be reality show, whether it be what the president at the time did, all that kind of stuff. And so it was kind of like that, but in blog form. So I try to keep up with it, and I have like 3 different segments, and I just couldn't keep up with it. And this was 2017 after a phone call I had with my dad, who basically kind of planted the seed about me starting something. So didn't really work, but I didn't want to get rid of the name. So I kept the name, and I was like, well, I just kind of was praying and like seeing God on it, like what should I do? What should I use this for? And I ended up getting a download, something said podcast or YouTube. So when I heard YouTube, that's before I started losing weight because I lost 40 pounds. And I was like, even though I was okay with being fat, I'm still fat now, but I was just on some like, you know, I'd rather look better on camera. So I thought, maybe YouTube not right now. And then podcast, I'm like, I don't even like my voice. So how is that gonna work? But as I got closer to time, I kept hearing podcasts. So when I got the for sure drop for podcasts, I started studying them for like 2 to 3 weeks. When I started my podcast, if you listen to my podcast, my tagline is a podcast for unconventional podcast for mental health conscious millennials with unpopular opinions. So I have a lot of unpopular opinions. I'm very opinionated. My comments, they get under people's skin sometimes. My way of thinking, everybody up here, I'm all the way up there. That's just how I've always been. So I wanted a podcast where people like me could feel as though, like, okay, say us three don't agree on something, we could see each other's point of view, be like, I don't agree, but I see where you're coming from. So that was the goal. It wasn't even mental health. But my dad, he come back again, the guidance counselor was like, that's mental health. So that's why I added the tagline, the other side of mental health, because people think mental health, they think of depression, bipolar, anxiety, schizophrenia. But those are mental illnesses. The definition of mental health is how you act, think, and feel.
Facts.
So that's how that came about. I wasn't even trying to be a mental health advocate. It really just happened.
It came with you. I like to call it purpose. Once again, it's the seed. We talk about seeds all the time. I use the grape with the seeds inside of it. Some people are grapes with no seeds. They can't birth nothing. But some of us are born in this world with seeds. We're not GMO. We're here to spread it out. And that was one of your seeds in creating a podcast, which is just a stop. This is just a stop. It's more for you, of course. But to create a podcast of mental health, and it's going to keep on adding in all those seeds before you get a big tree. So it makes sense to me.
Right. So PSA is returning for its 5th season.
Correct.
On March 18th. What can the people expect?
Well, I don't know if y'all saw the promo. The promo lit up Instagram. I told people, I took the negative comments people said, and I put myself in an interview with the Jay-Z, the Blueprint. I call myself the Blueprint, the podcast Blueprint, and it's not to diss. And when I say my little comments, it's never to really like bring down anybody. It's more so of like a playful thing, because a lot of people have told me, a lot of stuff you do, I do that. I see that. I did that. I like how you did this, so I copied that. And I don't mind it. You call me, you need help, I'm gonna help you. I'm not one of them type of people. Because when I did this podcast stuff, I started from the ground up by myself. All I had was just praying on stuff, doing my own research, and that's all I had. I didn't have nobody to call. So when people call me, I'm gonna tell you, because I don't want you taking as long as I took. I want you to, Pop, I tell you all the time, your first episode was way better than mine, because mine was terrible, and I wanted to delete it, but I ain't gonna delete it, because you need to see that. But they definitely can expect bigger guests, more well-known guests. As I ended off season 4, I had some high-up guests. For this one, is gonna be more. The topics are gonna be a little more intense. I'm going for, I'm showing why I'm referring myself as the Blueprint this season, and episode 1 has already been recorded, so. And it's gonna be a visual. I'm still an audio-based podcast for the most part, but I'm gonna definitely have some more visuals this season too. And they can expect. If I had to sum it up in a short way, they can expect to see something they ain't never seen before.
Say less.
Say less. Facts. Okay. So let me ask you this question: do you believe, right, in the narrative that for Black people, right, a lot of traumas and I guess PTSDs, right, that we go through today? Do you believe that is that a direct line from slavery and the effects of slavery? If so, what is your personal viewpoints on that? And if not, explain why.
I definitely believe in. So yes, I do, because I believe in generational curses, and I believe in, if we passing down something and not checking it, then of course it's gonna keep going. If we passing down, I could start an argument. I'm sorry, I don't personally believe they say it comes from slavery, but I don't believe that whooping kids come from slavery, only because I have friends of different races and people that I know of different races and nationalities and backgrounds and cultures that whoop their kids. So I don't believe that's just a slavery thing. I believe that's just an angry parent thing. And that's just what that is. I don't believe, because I remember I went to school with white kids for the first time, middle school, and they was talking about getting whoopings, and I said, oh, I thought this was just
Black people think, yeah.
no, they doing it too. So it's just, but I definitely believe a lot of things are. I think we have to get to the root of it and figure out where did this come from. And sometimes it ain't even out as far back as slavery. It could be your daddy now. You know what I'm saying? Doing this ABCD. Why do I like this? Why do I lash out like this? Why do I choose? Why do I choose the type of people I choose as far as dating? Why do I date these type of women? Why do I, why do I cut off people quickly and without warning? Why do I, and why is it so hard for me to forgive? It's some stuff didn't happen because of stuff that didn't happen just a generation before you. So why am I so quick to get mad and lash out and try to tear people down? It's so many things. I believe, in short, I would say generational curses, but it's so many things that we have to break, So I think hopefully that answered the question, but
no, that definitely answered the question. And I would agree. That, those generational curses. I still do think as well, though, that, the effects of slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow are still alive today. Absolutely. But
for sure.
I definitely like your point on that. So why do people tend to deal with or try to cope with their emotions, their feelings, right? Or their traumas with, let's say, drugs or sex or, government prescribed medication compared to seeking counseling or even meditating or, all those different type of things?
I think people do it because, one, they don't want people in their business, especially, again, us. We will kind of keep that in house, but that's why they're getting healed, because they want to keep everything in the house. And people are scared. People want, and then they go to therapy. They fighting the therapist. They, nah, you don't know me, nah. And it's they getting so caught up in wanting to protect themselves, and they have an issue with being vulnerable. And for me, that was definitely hard for me to be vulnerable. I remember the first time I went to the therapist, I was going in with the mindset of, I'm tired of feeling like this. So I was all with it. Like, I'm like, tell me what's wrong, because I need, but some people go in like, no, that ain't right. No, you don't know me. You don't know me. But I think that people are just more so scared. They don't want to open up. They rather just, let me go numb this pain with some sex real quick. Which I got an episode 2 is going to be about that. People, go numb it with some drugs and go out and party and stuff all the time. And then you do that long enough, you still got the problem. And now you look like the Grinch. So
exactly.
Facts.
That's deep.
That's a great point. Why is mental health not discussed more in the Black community? And how can somebody like Chief and I, help? Right? Because it's sometimes people don't know how to help, right? Or where to help. So how can your average person help, specifically our Black people, with dealing with mental health, especially the ones that don't discuss it, but you kind of see they might be going through something, right? Like, we've seen it and throughout our lives at one point, I'm sure, where that person, they look down, they look like they're going through something, but you don't know necessarily if you want to help because you're not a professional. But so how can the average person get it, help with that? And then also, like I said, how come specifically our people again just don't want to discuss it?
Great question.
It is. I think that, the beauty is people are starting to become more open with it. That I can't say. I think that a lot of times too, kind of going back to the last answer I had, where people feel like I'm not paying no money for somebody that don't know me. So that was another reason with my show. I don't want a lot of times people will say, I don't want to talk to a therapist. So that's why I'm not licensed. Don't have any degrees in these things. I just got experience. I feel like I'm just like you. So we just having conversation, and I open the door for the conversation. We can talk. So I think that, doing stuff like this, having those, those meetings, and a lot of times they start to do it at churches, but we don't have to just leave it in the church. Do it other places. Like, hey man, you good? Let's have meetings for just men to just talk. Y'all good? What's going on? And just see, because my therapist, who's a man now, the first one was a woman. He's a man. He only older than me because I'm 26. He like 30 something. He even said he feel like personally he could argue that men might be more sensitive than women. It's just that they're not gonna show that. Yep. And so we so guarded and tough, but that's the thing. I feel like it can just be stuff like this. You might have a, sit down with a group of men on platforms like this on YouTube, even if it's something small where it's just like you go, I don't know, you go to the gym and just you cool with some men there. Y'all like, hey, let's go out to eat and let's talk. Just
that's true.
It don't have to be these big old, club events. I mean, it could be, but
I get you. Yeah. Okay. So kids, right? Kids go through mental health as well, right? So sometimes they can't always express how they feel, right? Like a baby is gonna cry, but really they gotta poop or they hungry, right? Or they sleepy, right? A kid, you said, you was feeling the anxiety and everything at age 9, right? So a kid at age 9 might not be able to express, hey mommy, I'm being bullied at school, or hey mom, I don't have the confidence with math, so I just shut down, right? In your opinion, right, what is the best way for our children to deal with mental health, or us to help our children to deal with mental health?
So it's funny you say that, because as I've gotten older, I came out of with my struggles to my parents older, so they didn't have a clue, because like they were saying, oh, he's doing good. I didn't lash out in school, I didn't have bad grades, I still had friends. So in their mind it was like, well, he good, but in reality I really wasn't. I think that for me, it was more so because I just felt like, and I actually talked about this with a therapist on her show a little while ago, and she had broke down as parent, she's the licensed therapist, and she's as a parent, we forget that, kids pay attention to stuff. And as far as me, I was the only child, but and no different than them. But my parents, it seemed like they was always going through something. They own personal stuff. They, they adults, they go through stuff too. Everybody go through stuff at some point. But it just, for me, it felt like they was always going through stuff, and I would test it out, little stuff. Like I remember one time to my mom, I had brought up suicide. I don't even know how it came up, and this was before she got educated in it. She was still kind of that old school, so you can't blame her. And she made a comment, well, suicide, people that do that, they selfish. So I said, okay, so can't bring that up to you. Then my dad, I had said something one time about, again, it was anxiety, but it was nervous. I said nervous, but it was anxiety. And I said, yeah, I'm just feeling nervous. And he was like, what are you nervous about? So when he said that, I just said, nope. Yeah. So I feel like as parents, y'all need to watch y'all's tones. And you need to, watch what you are telling your kids, because of course they don't need to know everything. So it's like, I felt like I was knowing too much about y'all personal life, but I was the only child. They had me at 30, so,
Yeah, that make a lot of sense. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Especially as kids, we sponges, right? Yeah. We take in everything and then we react, and we model what you're modeling, right? So if you're doing this, you're doing that, we're gonna do that as well. But I like that tone one, because I don't do too good with my tone at times. So to hear that, it makes sense.
But it's crazy, because like growing up, people, you always heard kids say, I can't wait to be grown, I can't wait to be an adult. I was the total opposite. I want to be a Toys R Us kid forever. I listen to grown people complain all day long. Nope, I want to be a kid forever. That's what they got. I don't want it.
Yeah, I know, right? That's facts. So we talk kids, so let's talk relationship. Like, how can dealing with mental health be difficult if you're in a relationship with somebody, married to somebody, or even in a business partnership? Because it's that old saying: if you aren't okay or happy, you can't expect to make anyone else around you feel happy.
Right.
And it's like with my wife, she's actually an art therapist. She's going to get her art therapy degree in a few months now, master. So she's doing well. Shout out to Soraya Lang. But I know, right? But she, before this transition in 2018, when she started going to school, um, I could say I was happy, but sometimes it could be forced because, like we talked about before, dealing with this society and all of that, man, it's just you kind of force happiness on the people. But then just learning her ways, learning the moves, the therapist, learning the words like intergenerational trauma and epigenetics and stuff like that really changed my perspective as a husband. Really, and I'm an educated philosopher, all the above, so I love to research, like you said, look up definitions and all of that stuff. So is education the key in relationship or experience? Like give it to us.
I think for me, I really took a break from dating because I'm I enjoy being by myself. And I ain't gonna lie, this little girl I'm rapping with now. But I got friends that's my age, because like I said, I'm 26. I got friends, my friends range age-wise. So I got some as young as 21, and then I got some as old as 36. And I have some that are married, and they always say, I love my wife, I love my husband, but take your time. Do not enjoy yourself, because it's not even just about being out here drunk and high. It's just about you like waking up and ain't nobody in your house. That is a feeling. I'll be trying to tell people that was an amazing feeling. Like ain't nobody in your house. You ain't got to check in with nobody. You just chilling. But I want to say personally, and this is a personal one. Now, I just feel like, if you struggle with it, I say get to the root of it before you get into a relationship. Now, if you already there, I ain't gonna say I'm gonna divorce them and then come back later. But I say get to the root of it prior to, because what we don't deal with in our single comes up in relationships, and that's why these people jump from relationship, dating the same person over and over again because they didn't handle something they should have. And it's just like. And honestly, you can't love, and it sounds corny, but you can't love nobody if you don't love yourself. And a lot of people really don't love themselves.
Yeah,
because
I can do that.
It's just that's what I think. I think you need to get to the root of it and deal with it prior to jumping into something.
Perfect answer. Perfect.
Perfect. I think I can speak for Chief. Like that's a perfect answer.
Yeah,
I think we both would agree with that. Definitely.
So biblical implication time. Shout out to the writing team for this. Isaiah 43:1. I will put it up on here. It says, "But now this is what the Lord says: He who created you, Jacob, He who formed you, Israel, do not fear, for I have redeemed you." Which is a great word. The key word out of the whole verse is redeemed to me. I have summoned you by name. Other key word. He knows who you are. Name is not just your William or your actual regular name. That's character, that's function, that's likeness, all of the above. You are mine. What does this mean to you when you hear this verse? Do not fear. You are redeemed. You have been summoned by name. That's character. You are mine. How does that feel to be a child of God?
Okay, so first of all, did you get this on my bio? This is the second person to do this. That's why I'm asking. So, what it means for me, because and I know we live in a world where I'm always standing on my beliefs. I don't care. You can believe what you want, but don't tempt me to try to change me, because you're not, and you can't. So what I like about that verse is you point out some great words. But what I also liked is when he said he created Jacob, but he formed Israel. So you were created as this, but you became the identity that I didn't create for you.
Facts.
You're Israel. This is the identity of who you are. You're somebody else. So I like when that happens, because in this process, in this stage of my life, I like that I feel like I'm going from my, Jacob to my Israel, my Abram to Abraham, to where I'm becoming and walking in the identity of who he called me to be, and not of who I've developed or what lies I didn't believe, any of that, because I'm becoming, I'm redeemed. I love that word too. I'm redeemed. He summoned you by name. He's saying, get up. It's time for you to rise and shine. It's time for you to do what I've called you to do, walk into that purpose, and to, that former self gotta go.
Yep.
Not no new cat. Now you can't be a caterpillar with wings. You got to actually be the butterfly.
Facts. That's a good one.
So I heard that somewhere. I don't remember where, but I heard it and I liked it. But yeah, you got to be a full butterfly. You can't just be the same person with some new additions. It got to be new ways of thinking, even if you outwardly the same. Even though I'm cutting up and toning up, so I want both in and out. But you thinking different. You handling situations different. You used to fly off at the mouth. Now you extend grace to people. You used to always be trying to check something. Now you know what you got it, and you don't even have no urge to clap back and say nothing. You just like you got it. You not out here, wasting people's time. You saying I'm gonna just be to myself. You ain't out here, it's so many. Everybody has their different changes. So I'll be here all day. But whatever your change is, whoever needs to hear this, it's time. So
that's tough. Yeah, of course, we definitely got it from your bio, but it's one of the key verses. Yeah, shout out to the writing team. But it's one of the key verses in the Bible because, like you said, just the words in general, and it's showing different evolutions of one person, which is ourselves. And definitely when it says it called you by name, because that's character, that's who you are. And like you said, it's time. You have to rise now. So that's a perfect verse to live by. So last question of the interview: what is next up for Izzy Baker, 2021 and beyond?
So the promo drop, the episode 1 drops next Thursday. That's crazy.
It's gonna be here in no time.
I know. I didn't took this 3 months off. I didn't been on podcasts left and right, YouTube channel left and right. I've been trying to get myself out there as much as possible. I didn't join the podcast course to blow my stuff up. What's next is I'm working on a project that's not podcast related and it's almost done. I can't wait for that to drop. I'm finishing that up now. Like I said, we obviously know the podcast, and just continue to see me in many places as I've been. I've been in so many places. I've been, featured so many places. I thought last year was hard. And I didn't top last year in these last 3 months.
Dang.
So, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen next. Finally made a TikTok, finna use some clips from there on my page.
Smart guy.
And just be prepared because it's only March and it's been an active year for me career-wise. I'm an educator. I love the kids, but that's gonna be ending. So this ain't a forever thing. That I know. But it's where I'm at for right now. So
I hear that. Like my boy, I quote Yaji Keta. He said March is only one of the months that has action to it. So he said you better March during this month because you don't want to be an April Fool. And I say, yo, that boy speaking. So you don't want to be a fool in April, be in March and March. So right. I say you marching in March. We're gonna continue to march with you, brother. And it's going up from here.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah, so right now we're about to get into our quick 5. All right. So I'm gonna just ask you 5 questions. We just need some 5 quick answers. All right. So first up, tell us one thing that you know now that you wish you knew at the beginning of your journey.
What could I say? And it sounds simple, but you'll make it through.
That's deep.
Yeah, for sure.
That's deep and inspirational and all of that.
For sure.
All of that and the truth. That's dope. That's dope. Which public figure that has passed on that you would have loved to met, possibly talked about experiences, pick their brain for their knowledge?
Wow, that's a good one. I've never thought about that. I guess you could say who has passed that I would like to talk to. Maybe. Oh, I got a good one. Don Cheadle played him and talked to me.
Yeah, from right here.
Original king of radio before what's the name died because he just died. the white guys. Is it Larry?
Yeah.
Is it
Larry
Larry?
King?
Yeah. But the Don Cheadle played him in that movie Talk to Me. Larry King got his stuff from him, and most people don't know
Really?
that.
Huh? Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Petey Green.
Yeah. The
Oh,
original
okay.
King,
Petey Green.
this. Radio became this, but radio is the originator.
Yeah, right
Interesting.
here in DC too. He would be the main one out there showing the people, like, y'all showing people, the White House and the monuments and the museums. Show people how DC really is. Show people, what we're going through right here in our own city. So yeah, that's a good one.
I love people like that, like myself, who are full of personality, but then they still hit you with them facts at the same time.
Facts. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you say you're a teacher, right?
Yeah.
What grades do you teach?
I teach 8th grade English.
Okay, 8th grade English, right? So you probably dealing with what, like 13, year olds?
13, 14. We got a 16-year-old. Don't ask why, but yeah, we got one.
That's cool. as long as he's still getting the education.
Right.
Yeah.
But I can imagine that sometimes gets a little frustrating. So, if you ever uttered a curse word, like out of frustration, just like, these kids is getting on.
Right.
You said have I?
Yeah, what would that word be? Hey,
starts with and rhymes with fire truck.
You already know what language you talking. You ain't that. Yeah, we already know.
That's funny.
We already know.
That's funny.
Give us 5 important things right now about mental health that everybody needs to know.
Deep.
5 important things. Mental health is deeper than just mental illness.
Okay.
You can't get caught up in that. Anybody who's dealt with mental health, because I've gotten flack for this, anybody who's dealt with any mental health issues of any kind can talk about them. Okay. You have a voice to speak on it.
Okay.
What's something else about mental health? It can be fun. Mental health is not always positive and happy-go-lucky, and then mental health, it's not always that. And mental health should be cared for by all. Like, it shouldn't just be certain people. Everybody should care about their mental health.
Agreed.
Okay, like that. And finally, what do you often pray for the most?
I pray for the change to take place. I pray that I stop getting in the way of myself and I allow myself to fully embrace the change.
Amen.
Respect. Well, people, that is our interview. We want to thank everybody for listening and who viewed us live right now on all of these different platforms. We definitely want to thank Izzy Baker, man. Thank you, man, for joining. Like Chief said earlier, just being open with us. We definitely appreciate that. Make sure y'all check him out on IG. And y'all got the tags right there at the bottom, so y'all already know where to find him, man. Check out also his podcast, PSA. Again, next Thursday, March 18th, season 5. Make sure y'all go check that out. Do you have any closing remarks? Anything you want to say to the people, man?
Follow me, listen to the podcast, catch up. Like I said, I haven't dropped episodes since December 3rd. So we're coming back, March 18th on fire. It's going to be some changes, some good changes, though, and some additions. I try to add something every season and bringing something back that I didn't do the last 2 seasons. So that I'm happy about that. And if you're trying to get on, let me know.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Just let us know which episode.
Yeah, I got you. Just let me know what we're gonna talk about, and I'll figure out something, and we can do
for sure. For sure. Once again, man, we appreciate you for being open, like Amrock said, vulnerable, giving us this. This is a gem of an interview for us. Definitely gonna go down in history. That is. So we definitely thank you again. Also, thank you to the StreamYard platform for allowing us to present this evening. Please remember to follow us on IG, TikTok, Facebook, all at the HL Podcast, and we will be back soon with a new episode. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, 70, 76.
76, man.
Coming. 76 is coming. So, hey, people, thanks, Izzy Baker, again, man, for being on here. Peace and love.
Peace and love, y'all.
Peace.